Pedro Dones instinctively yelling out, "Let's go Worcester," although we are in Spencer today, but you can see Pedro each and every Thursday at the White Eagle for Wrestling Open. Sort of an instinctual thing for him when he's in this part of the world, but I think even though he may not know what town he's in right now, I think he's hyper-focused on what's in front of him.
Yeah, when you're on that green mat, your first thought is Wrestling Open, your first thought is Worcester, Massachusetts, and right now Pedro's primary thought needs to be, how do I get past the hurdle known as TJ Crawford?
TJ is a man who is in the finals of the Jumbo Grand Prix tournament, and if fate wasn't on the side of Fancy Ryan Clancy that night, TJ would have won that Jumbo Grand Prix tournament. So in his mind, in many ways, he's the uncrowned Jumbo Grand Prix tournament winner. Perhaps maybe even in the back of his mind, he may not tell Bacon this, but he might be the uncrowned Wrestling Open champion. So for him to get this chance to become the #1 contender to the IWTV Championship. Sorry, I was distracted.
Yeah, no, Pedro could definitely distract an individual, but I'm telling you something right now, TJ Crawford, he is very good at getting himself to those opportunities. He has been a #1 contender again and again and again for various championships throughout his illustrious career. And I really do believe that, based on that history, he's the man that's going to be stepping forth to face the IWTV Heavyweight Champion.
Spinning back kick to the midsection. TJ Crawford, I mean, he wasn't even really fooling anybody. He put his hands up, said, "I'm a good guy," but we've seen him enough times to know that he's probably the opposite of a good guy, although Love Doug seems to think differently in recent times. We saw what went down this past Thursday night where Doug said, people don't know this, but TJ and I are actually best friends outside of wrestling, and there's still a lot of unanswered questions coming off of this past Thursday.
Yeah, no, the claim of their friendship, which is something I definitely wasn't privy to, but TJ and Love Doug, they apparently are good friends, and this is something that Doug tries to do. He tries to stay out of the business of TJ Crawford, but looks like he's going to be forced to do so now.
Headlock takeover by Dones. The one thing we know about Pedro, he calls himself the shot caller because usually in times past, he'd get on that microphone, he would tell his opponent what part of the body he would target, and he would always get it. Didn't do that today, but I have to think, considering what's on the line here tonight, actually using his head by not telling TJ where he's going.
Yeah, it's definitely part of the strategy here. And when we're talking about championship opportunities, sometimes you're gonna make little shifts, different plays, make different decisions about your execution in order to get over that hump. I think that's a small wrinkle that Pedro decided to use today.
Calling for a rope break here. TJ going over, grabbing that rope. Dones trying to get out of the hold here, but I think TJ knows exactly what he's doing. As you saw right there, he took advantage of the referee ducking down, threw a right hand, but of course, referee Tyler Calloway saw the effects of the strike, but he couldn't tell if it was a closed fist or not, so there's really nothing he can do there.
Yeah, you can't call what you can't see, not in the world of professional wrestling, and Tyler Calloway doing the right thing, getting between both competitors, trying to cause that clean break. TJ Crawford taking advantage.
Dones has also been in some big-time spots during his career, including that incredible championship match against Ichiban last year. Of course, that's when he and Ray Jazz decided to go their separate ways, which culminated in an incredible Autumn Classic on Thanksgiving, which Pedro Dones won that evening. So he has faced down the bright lights many times before, so he's not going to back down from someone like TJ Crawford.
Yeah, they're both accustomed to this. The pressure is not going to get to them. It will not be a factor in this contest. It's simply going to be a question of who has what game plan and who's going to better execute it.
And if there's anybody who has game plan on top of game plan, it is Pedro Dones. We've seen him use it in some underhanded ways in the past, but ever since his split from Ray Jazz, he has been straightforward, just like his shoulder went into that post there, and now Crawford able to get the advantage, and he is not going to back away.
The way the shoulder shifted as it hit that post, possible dislocation, we don't know at this time. But right now, TJ Crawford staying all over Pedro.
And that aggressive side that TJ Crawford had unleashed, thanks to Big Bacon Brad Hollister's tutelage, is being shown here
as
TJ looks to cut down the shot collar.
And TJ doing a great job here, I have to admit, despite the antics and the tactics that he's decided to utilize, it's definitely effective against Pedro.
And Donis on the back foot, has been in some spots before where he's had to play defense, but when TJ Crawford is just lobbing shots at you over and over, it's really hard to get up any sort of defense.
But now Pedro trying to turn offense into defense, assaulting TJ Crawford, and now going for that whip.
Irish whip reverse, down goes Pedro. That was very aggressive by Crawford. And speaking of aggression, he is not holding anything back with a chance to be #1 contender to the IWTV title at stake.
And Pedro just taking those shots directly to the temple, couldn't even get his hands up. So Pedro's really in a dangerous place at this point.
Very, very dangerous spot Pedro Donis finds himself in here. And as the odds keep mounting against him, I feel like the longer this goes, the worse it's going to be for Pedro Donis.
Yeah, no, this is not working out for Pedro. He needs to create some space and be able to get back into his wheelhouse.
As TJ is telling this crowd here in Spencer that Pedro Donis is about to go to sleep, and you can see the oxygen going out of the face of Pedro Donis, but he's able to position his neck a little more to get himself a little room to breathe, and somehow he got himself back on his feet.
That's all you need sometimes, turning that body ever so slightly to get away from the worst point of the choke, but shut down again by TJ Crawford.
Charges in, Donis moves, and TJ is the one that finds himself straight forward into that post, and the shot caller has a chance to hit bullseye.
Turnabout being fair play here. Pedro utilizing a similar tactic as did TJ Crawford to create that separation, and now the question is, can he capitalize?
Pedro Donis, TJ Crawford, #1 contender in the city of Worcester for the IWTV Championship at stake here in our opening contest at the Food Truck Showdown. Donis has been waiting for another shot at gold ever since last year. This could be his chance to get it.
Huge shoulder tackle. Pedro, oh, we talked about his wheelhouse. Here it is!
Samoan drop. Leg drop, follows it up, makes the cover. And Crawford able to kick out just barely, but Donis could be closer to hitting that bullseye.
Pedro giving all he had, executing a really high and tight leg drop on TJ Crawford. Let's see how he's gonna follow it up.
As TJ back on his feet, and this is not where Pedro wants to be. Hold on. He barreled right through him, and Donis might have hurt himself just as much as TJ. He had the wherewithal to make the cover, but that couple of seconds was the difference, and now Donis unable to become #1 contender.
Pedro almost reacting, doing what he could to get out of the way, seeing an opportunity, throwing all of his body weight into that maneuver.
And now the straps are coming down. Business is always serious with the shot caller, but now he has his bullseye registered, but will the sniper get off the first shot?
Pedro thinking body slam, possibly that shoulder taking effect.
Snapping at that arm. Inzagiri caught the shoulder more than the head, but that one was on the money. Donis is down. This could be it.
Hook of the leg.
Pedro gets the shoulder up at 2, and Crawford is absolutely irate.
Pedro right now showing his toughness, but I don't know how much more of this he can handle. We don't know the severity of the injury of the shoulder.
And we talk about the bullseye that Donis calls out, but there's only one bullseye. It's on that arm. TJ Crawford's all over it. Super kick. Crawford got rocked. He is wobbly, and now look at that backslide. A move Ray Jazz used so many times to great effect, but forget about a pinfall attempt, kick to the head.
Pedro knocked out. Oh my goodness!
And Donis able to get the shoulder up one more time, but TJ is all over him. And he's talking trash on the way.
I thought that was academic Muay Thai.
Another kick, Dones is down.
Good night.
But Dones refuses to go away.
And I had to admit, wow, the ability on display, Pedro. Fantastic job staying durable, but he has to get some separation. He can't keep getting kicked in the head.
And this is where TJ Crawford can lose himself, because that temper comes out over and over again, and when that happens, he loses focus.
You have to take that anger, use his ammunition, and point it effectively inside your rifle. TJ struggles with that oftentimes. Let's see if he's able to successfully get through that struggle.
A headbutt to the shoulder. That's how crazy TJ can get. That's how much this match means to both competitors.
#1 contendership for the IWTV World Championship on the line.
Going up top. He's going for broke. Hold on. Pedro has him.
Pedro with control. Wow!
Sits out with it. Down goes Crawford. Dones is out too, though. Both competitors down. Which way is this going to go? I feel like we're back to square one here, just on a much different level.
Pedro needed that space. He got kicked in the temple again and again. That shoulder is all screwed up. That powerbomb was the last bit Pedro had in that moment. Let's see how much gas he has left in the tank.
You can see the emotion coursing through his body. That is what this means to both men here today. Tries that silver bullet, but he connected with the forearm.
We're up.
Has him up, and he kicked him in the head on the way down.
He caught him hard, and now TJ, that has to be it.
How in the hell did Pedro kick out of that? He must not have caught him square on the money on that kick on the way down. That's the only thing I can think of.
Whether he did or didn't, Pedro, wow, the wherewithal to get that shoulder up. Incredible competition by both men.
TJ Crawford and Pedro Dones, one-on-one. Who will be the #1 contender to the IWTV Championship? It has been mostly TJ, but man, Pedro is not going down without a fight.
Pedro out there like a piece of iron, willing to bend but not break.
Oh, he's gonna tie him up in the ropes. There's nowhere for him to go. The ever-defiant Pedro Dones letting TJ know, you can do anything, but you have to put me unconscious if you want this win here today. And I think TJ might oblige.
TJ looking to knock out Pedro. It's more than the match at this point in TJ's eyes. He's trying to assert dominance in a different fashion.
And TJ standing tall. I feel like this is even too much for TJ. Just put the guy away, get the win, and do what you need to do.
To be honest, he's been trying to. Pedro, too tough, too durable. He's out. The defiance on display.
Hey! Doug is out here again. It's never ending with these two.
Doug doesn't want to see his friend go down that path.
As Doug is telling him, do the right thing. If you're gonna win, win on the up and up and just get the job done.
TJ heading to Pedro, what? It's it! Oh!
Pedro did it! Pedro did it! He survived an onslaught, and now Pedro Dones is the #1 contender to the IWTV Championship in Worcester. Can you believe that?
Pedro, man, I have to say, if I was a betting man, money would have been lost.
As he is calling for Cruel, but he might get RSP at the end of Thursday night.
Now we'll see what happens on the 9th. Crystal ball, wide eagle.
Man, I cannot wait for that, but man, I also cannot wait to see who Pedro Donis will eventually face to try to become the to become the IWTV Championship, as he is now the #1 contender to that championship.